Shri Gurubhyo Namaha, children. Today we are going to talk about the continuation of Gauss law. Here we are going to use Gauss law to determine electric field in a simple way for some symmetric charge configurations. Let us move on to the first application of Gauss law, where we are going to determine electric field due to an infinitely long straight uniformly charged wire. Consider an infinitely long thin straight wire with uniform linear charge density. Now, hope you remember linear charge density. The formula for linear charge density is, I'll write here children, lambda is equal to Q by L. Last class we discussed about this linear charge density. So, consider a wire which is positively charged. Actually, it's an infinitely long straight wire which is having a uniform positive charge and which possess linear charge density lambda equal to Q by L, right? Okay. Now, I'm going to take a point P which is at a distance of R from O, which means the radial vector from O to P, and imagine rotating the wire from point P, and when I rotate there are two more points there starting from P, P dash and P double dash. Now all these points will have the same value of electric field, and the direction of electric field at every point must be radial outward. Clear? So, to determine the electric field due to this long straight wire, I need to consider a Gaussian surface. Now, we take a Gaussian surface of radius small r from the line charge. Okay, so I have taken a Gaussian surface. The Gaussian surface is a cylindrical surface, and it has, now there are three parts in this diagram children. Now the first part is here S1. Let me write this as S1, and here let me write this as S2, and here let me write this as S3. Now, in these three parts, we need to determine the flux, and the total flux will be the sum of the fluxes of these individual parts. Clear? So, this S1 is a curved surface, right? And S2 and S3, they are the flat circular ends of the cylindrical. So, see here, this is a circular part, and this is the circular part. So, there are two circular flat ends and one curved surface. So, we need to determine the flux in these three parts, right? So, let us move on to the first curved ends. Now, here, as per the diagram, the electric field is along this side, and similarly here also let me draw the electric field here also. It will be the same like how it is on the other side. So here also I will draw the electric field. So the electric field is the same here, and when compared to this small element, I have taken small element here and here children. Hope you will be able to see the diagram. Now as far as this area element is concerned, what will be the direction of electric field children? The direction of electric field will be like this. Am I right? And similarly here also it will be like this. So this is ds vector and here it is ds vector. Okay ma? Right. Now according to electric flux, now look at the direction of electric field vector. Of course, as far as here is concerned, here also it is the same, and here also it is the same, right? So what is the angle between electric field vector and ds vector? Theta will be 90, right? So if theta is going to be 90, the flux at these 2 points will be 0, because flux equal to E dot dA. When I substitute EA cos theta, cos 90 is going to be 0. So the flux at S2 and S3 will be 0. So which flux alone contribute to the total flux is the flux that is along the curved cylindrical, along this cylindrical surface, this part S1 alone will contribute to the flux. So the flux can be written as electric field into area of the curved surface, right? So phi of E equal to, now what is E? Of course I will write the same. Now area of the curved surface is circumference of, which is nothing but 2 pi r into the length of the cylindrical surface, which is L. Clear? So I can write the flux as E into 2 pi r L. So this is the total flux. I'll write it clearly. So this is the total flux, because S2 and S3 tends to 0, and I have the flux only due to this S1, which is also considered to be the total flux, which is equal to E into 2 pi RL. Now I'm going to substitute the value of flux. So what is Gauss law? Again, Gauss law, flux equal to Q by epsilon naught, and I already know the value of Q as lambda into L from this formula, children. Lambda equal to Q by L, because it is a charged wire of linear charge density. So instead of phi, I am going to substitute as Q by epsilon naught equal to E into 2 pi RL. And I also know the value of Q to be, what is the value of Q, children? It is lambda L by epsilon naught equal to E into 2 pi RL. So here L and L gets cancelled. So I have the value for the electric field to be lambda by 2 pi epsilon naught R. So this is the equation to determine electric field due to an infinitely long, straight, uniformly charged wire. Now here I have written the magnitude alone. Now I need to have the vector. Okay, so E vector can be written as lambda by 2 pi epsilon naught R into unit vector, where what is this unit vector? N vector is the radial vector in the plane normal to the wire, now which is passing through the point. And here what will be the direction of electric field? Now the electric field, as I said, it is normal in the sense, so this will be the direction of the electric field. It is normal to the wire, right? And the electric field will be outward as far as this this positively charged wire is concerned. Suppose if I take a point here, I have taken a point here. If this is going to be a test charge, here also it is positive, so it will be radially outward if the charge is going to be positive. So, and if the charge is going to be negative, so E is directed outward if lambda is positive. If lambda is positive, E is directed outward. That is the direction of E vector. Suppose If lambda is going to be negative, children, then what will be the direction of E? Can you guess? So E vector is directed inward if lambda is going to be negative. So this is the first application of Gauss law. Clear? Now let us move on to the second. Field due to a uniformly charged infinite plane sheet. Now look at the diagram. I have sticked on to your textbook diagram itself, children, so that you will understand the concept very easily. Okay, ma? So now here we are going to consider a infinite plane sheet in which you consider the surface charge density. Surface charge density sigma equal to Q by A, and whose unit is coulomb per meter square. So I am going to consider a uniform charge density plane sheet, and in this plane sheet I have kept the plane sheet along the positive and negative x-axis, and you do not have the y and z coordinates for this plane. So it is aligned in such a way that the plane sheet is normal to the x-axis. Clear? So the electric field due to this plane sheet will not depend on the y-axis, I mean the y coordinates and the z coordinates. So we'll restrict ourselves only to the x-axis, right? Now there is a Gaussian surface. Now you consider a Gaussian surface. It will be a rectangular area, and we have only two faces here because the other sides the flux will be 0, and we consider only this part, that is the side 2 and the side 1. Now the flux contributes only to these two sides because in this side you have the electric field vector to be outward. And what about the area vector? Suppose if I am going to consider this is the area. Now look at me, children. Suppose if I consider this book, now this is going to be my area. Now if this is going to be my area, what will be my area vector? It will be like this. So the area vector and the electric field, they are parallel to each other. So in that case, theta will be equal to 0. So the flux contribution is from this side 2 and side 1 of the plane sheet. Okay. So what will be the flux? So the electric flux E dot del S. E dot del S is due to only this side and this side. All the other side the flux will be 0. So what will be the charge enclosed by the closed surface? You apply Gauss law, you have E into A here. So here the flux is, the first part it is E into A, and side 2 is also E into A. So total flux will be EA plus EA will be equal to 2EA. So I can write 2EA equal to flux, right? Now here I can write Q is equal to sigma into A, right? So substitute. So it should be, it is epsilon naught here. So 2EA equal to, here it should be Q, sorry, by mistake I wrote, it should be Q. So instead of Q, you substitute sigma into A by epsilon naught. So here A and A gets cancelled. So I have the value of electric field to be sigma by 2 epsilon naught. So this is the electric field due to an infinitely uniformly charged plane sheet. Now again here also I need to add a unit vector. So sigma by 2 epsilon naught into unit vector. which is normal to the plane. Okay, again here also the E will be directed away from the plate if the surface charge density is going to be positive, and it will be towards the plate if surface charge density is going to be negative. Is it clear, children? Now next we are moving on to the third application of Gauss law, where you are going to determine the field due to a uniformly charged thin spherical shell. Now here there are two diagrams, children. It is a very easy concept which you can understand. Again here also we talk about surface charge density, right? Now I'm going to consider a point P outside. Now this is a spherical shell. This is a spherical shell, and the radius of the spherical shell is taken as R, capital R. Now to this spherical shell, I am going to imagine a Gaussian surface. The dotted lines represents the Gaussian surface. I am going to consider a point P on the Gaussian surface, and all the charges are uniformly distributed, continuously distributed here. And this point P is at a distance of small r from the center. So I am going to find out what is the electric field here. Okay, so the electric field at every point on the Gaussian surface will have the same magnitude, and the direction is along the radius vector. Okay, because it is a spherical surface, so every point will have the same value of electric field, and the radius vector is from the point O, it is along the radius vector. Now, so what will happen? The flux through each element will be taken as E dot ds or E dot del s. So the flux through the Gaussian surface, will be E, where is the cursor? E into 4 pi r square, okay, is equal to the flux. Okay, why do we take 4 pi r square? Because that is going to be the area of the sphere. So it is E into 4 pi r square, which is the flux. Now when I simplify this, I will start with the equation flux equal to Q by epsilon naught. Now, what is surface charge density here, children? Of course, you know the formula. Surface charge density is equal to Q by A. Now, what is A? It is nothing but the area of the sphere, which is 4 pi r square, right? So I can write the value of, now here I will write again sigma. So the value of Q will be sigma into 4 pi r square. Clear? Is it clear? Now I am going to substitute the value of Q. Clear? So E into 4 pi r square equal to sigma by epsilon naught 4 pi r square. Now when I simplify this, left hand side and right hand side, I have 4 pi, so it gets cancelled. Okay, so I have E r square equal to sigma by epsilon naught r square. Hope you understand what is this equation. Now I know the value of sigma here. So what is the value of sigma? Sigma is, I'd substitute. Now let me see here. So this will be, when I simplify this, I will have Q by 4 pi epsilon naught r square. So what do I substitute here? Substitute here for sigma as 4 pi square, Q by, substitute for sigma as q by 4 pi r square. So when I substitute, now what happens here? Let me show this to you. Sigma, substitute sub sigma. So it is q, numerator I have r square divided by 4 pi epsilon naught r square. Okay, into here this side I have one more r square which I bring it, I'll write here. So in that case, this r square and r square will get cancelled. So remaining term is E is equal to q by 4 pi epsilon naught r square. So this is the electric field. Okay, due to a uniformly charged spherical shell whose Gaussian surface is at a point, whose Gaussian surface is this, and I'm going to consider a point here, and the electric field at this point is determined by E is equal to q by 4 pi epsilon naught r square. Now this is going to be the condition for when the point is outside the shell. Now in this diagram, now there is one more case that can be discussed here, but it is not there in your textbook. Suppose instead of this point P outside the shell, if I am going to consider the point on the shell, in that case, what will be the radial vector? It will be just the radius of the shell. So in that case, I will have the equation for the electric field as, instead of this small r square, I will just have capital R square, because I am going to consider the point on the shell. So if the point is going to be on the shell, then electric field will be q by 4 pi epsilon naught. Instead of small r square, you will have capital R square, children. Okay. Now next case is, if the Gaussian surface is going to be inside the sphere. Now look at the diagram. The point P is inside the shell. So again the Gaussian surface is a sphere, now which is centered at O. So what will be the flux through the Gaussian surface? Again you calculate the flux here, E into 4 pi r square equal to flux. But what about the flux inside? The flux inside, it will be 0. The field due to a uniformly charged thin shell is 0 at all points inside the shell. So there is no flux inside the shell, so we can consider the electric field to be 0 in this case. So the experiment, now this also talks about a very important concept, that inside a uniformly charged shell, the electric field is 0 because the charges will not be existing inside. So we consider electric field to be 0 in a charged shell. Uniformly charged shell where you consider the Gaussian surface to be inside. If you are going to calculate the flux, the electric field is going to be 0 because the flux is 0. Okay. So this is about today's class. I'll be doing some numericals tomorrow, children, and I'll be continuing with the second chapter. So please go through the all the concepts in this. Let us discuss some problems tomorrow. Then we'll move on to chapter 2. So please be thorough in learning all the concepts as far as this topic is concerned, children. Okay. So see you tomorrow.